Fremd High School? How are you? Hey, that's a decent energy, but I'm going to tell you right now that yesterday, I'm going to tell you from having been here all day and from conferring with a few English teachers, 7th hour had the best energy of any period yesterday. So give yourselves some love. But I'm going to put the pressure on you to maintain that today, right? And I think a large part of it is when you're dialed in and paying attention up here. Because really, as much as you matter in our lives, and you do, the 6 wonderful ladies up here are a heck of a lot more important to you once they step on stage and they have this mic in front of you. So maybe put your phones down, take the earbuds out, give them your undivided and complete attention. Big thank you to our tech crew who's been rocking it out the first 2 days. If you know anybody that's been performing up on stage up here doing the music, please give them some love when you see them. They're fantastic. Everyone that we've had is really talented. With that being said, I will quit wasting your time and I will welcome to the stage and to the microphone my good friend Brooke.
Don't get your hopes up. Shout out to Mrs. Eng's 7th period class. You guys are so Thank you, I love you too. I hold 2 unpopular beliefs very near and very dear to my heart. Babies suck and Disney sucks. Whenever I share this information with a colleague or a friend, I'm often greeted by friction in our relationship. A fair portion of people don't mind babies or Disney. Some may even go as far as enjoying babies or Disney. I am here, however, to present why neither of these things are beneficial or enjoyable. First, babies are stupid and simply not practical. They can't walk when they're born and need constant care and attention to develop properly, unlike most animals. They don't do anything, they don't contribute to society or even pay taxes. Like, what's up with that? Until about 8 months of age, they don't realize that an object still exists when that object is removed from their line of sight. Idiots. They can't function on their own and don't understand the societal norm of saying thank you or even wearing clothes. One of the redeeming qualities of babies is their supposed tabula rasa, or blank slate. However, recent studies have begun to show that babies are born with an innate sense of right and wrong. While this new development is still being explored, we have a solid base of knowledge to make assumptions from. In summary, the research consisted of showing an infant some puppets doing good and bad things. The babies were then observed to see which puppet they preferred. While there are quite a few extraneous variables, such as how the baby was feeling that day or the attractiveness of the puppet, more than half the time the child preferred the puppet who did the good thing. So, babies aren't as impressionable as we thought, which might have been their one redeeming quality. Additionally, they are money pits. Simply stated, they are one of the worst decisions you can make financially. On average, a child will cost $233,000 by the time they're an adult at 18 years old. Your money would be better spent investing in the stock market. At least that way, you would get something in return. A baby only returns messes and banshee screeches because they're hungry. Infants are utter idiots and a pain to be around. Babies enjoy Disney. Their bright and colorful animations are hard to resist, but did you know that Disney destroyed the public domain in order to make more money? The public domain is a place where characters and stories go after a certain amount of time to be used by the public. This is why we can retell and remake the story of Snow White over and over again. She's so old that Snow is in the public domain, and now anyone can use her to express themselves creatively or make a profit. Mickey Mouse first appeared in 1923. He was scheduled to enter the public domain in the 1970s when stories were originally sent to enter after 56 years. The idea was that 56 years was long enough for the creator to make a fair profit of it and then allow their character to belong to everyone after they had made enough money to live quite comfortably. However, instead of letting this happen, Disney sued and extended the copyright law to 75 years. When the 1990s rolled around, surprise, surprise, Disney sued again and extended the law to 95 years so they can keep making a profit off of most of their characters. This means that Mickey will not enter the public domain until 2024, assuming Disney doesn't sue once again. Strange to think, so anything that is created in 2019 will not enter the public domain until 2114. Strange to think that most, if not all of us, will not live to see characters created this year be able to be used by the public. It's even less fun to watch a seemingly blissful Disney film, knowing that this corporation is doing all that they can to squeeze every last dime out of Mickey. While it's not necessarily an eloquent way to put it, Babies are dumb, and so is the money-hungry Disney. Babies can't walk or even skateboard, and I find that absolutely atrocious. You may think I have no heart, but I promise it's in there, and it beats for the banishment of babies and the removal of Disney's greedy copyright laws. Thank you. Next up, we have Danielle Farag.
Hello, so just a quick little shout out to OD's AP Lang class. So this is a piece that I've actually wanted to write for a while, but I just never got the chance to. So when I had to write an extra credit piece in English, I just knew I had to take that opportunity. This is the meaning of sugar. January 26, 2018. Just a normal Friday. I came home from school looking forward to a well-deserved rest. Or so I thought. I rang the doorbell and my dad opened the door. Sorry, but your grandpa passed away. Away, away, away. Echoes of that word flashed through my mind. I couldn't think clearly. I felt the tears come to my eyes and pour down my face. I cried myself to sleep that day. My grandpa lived all of his life in Egypt, and the last time I saw him, I was 6. Although I do not know much about him, I wrote this piece showing the stories told by those closest to him to learn more about him. Mom, the youngest daughter. The best time of the year for my mom was the 1 month that her dad would take off from his job as an eye surgeon. Every year, my mom looked forward to when she could spend quality time with her dad. Throughout that month of vacation, my grandpa would take his kids to the beach. He would pick the best apartment with the best view and would buy a brand new pool floaty for the kids every time they went. One day, my mom was relaxing on the inner tube in the Egyptian Ocean when she heard a loud, whiny sound coming from her left. She looked over and saw a medium-sized hole in a round inflatable. She reluctantly got up and dragged the deflated plastic to her dad. Noticing her, my grandpa looked up from reading the newspaper. When she told him what happened, her dad went off to buy another pool floaty without any complaints. My mom appreciated how her dad didn't want to ruin the time where he spent with his family the most. Over the years, she noticed that the couple of months before and after the vacation, her dad stayed at his private clinic longer than normal. When she went to ask him why he stayed later than normal, he said that he had more eye surgery appointments during that time. Grandpa purposely scheduled all of his operations out of the vacation month just so he could close his clinic to spend time with his family. My mom soon realized that her dad never complained when he had to spend more money or work longer because he was willing to sacrifice for his family. To her dad, family came first. Mimi, Grandpa's relative. In Egypt, there's a holiday called Shem el-Nessim, which is basically our Easter Monday. On that day, Egyptians eat rice and all kinds of seafood. Grandpa's family had a tradition of going on a Nile River boat to celebrate this holiday. One day, he invited his relative Mimi. Mimi met Grandpa at his house and she went with the whole family to the Nile River where they would board the boat. Going on the boat for the first time, she was surrounded by the smell of the seafood, the breeze of the wind rising over the river waves, and the sight of the Nile River expanding into the horizon. When the boat was a comfortable distance away from shore, the waiters brought up platters of salad, rice, shrimp, herring, and all different types of seafood. Mimi was soon absorbed by the delicious food served before her and the atmosphere of her relative's family. Soon, the clinking of spoons against the plate and the conversation of other families faded into the background. She was focused on her relative and the stories he told. Her relative could capture anyone's attention at the table through his childhood stories full of description and emotion. She could see the joy and laughter that was prominent in this family. This would turn out to be one of the best days in her life. I don't remember much about my grandpa, but I do remember what he would always call me when I was talking to him on the phone. Zucker, the Arabic word for sugar. But to me, that word doesn't just represent how my grandpa was calling me sweet. It represents the love he had and still has for me. Even though he couldn't see me face to face, through that word, he was telling me that he would always be with me, even through the darkest of times and the times when I need comfort. He was telling me that he wished the best for me because he knew how talented I was. He was telling me that he loved me so much. Through that word, he was teaching me all of the lessons he taught his kids. To be determined, to work hard no matter what, and to enjoy the little things in life. I took that advice into my heart and have followed it ever since. My longing for him will never end, But I know that whatever my challenges or successes, my grandpa will always be my guardian angel. Thank you. Next up, we have Kaya Patel.
Hey guys, I'm Kaya. Shout out to Miss OD's AP Lang class. Remind me to pay you guys all tomorrow. Just kidding. All right, so this is a poem I wrote for my English class. We were doing a write battle between my friends and I, and they wrote about the past and the future, and I wrote about the present. And it's basically why the present is the present. Okay. Live in the present, for memories fade and memories haunt, chasing you into an abyss, consuming you with ghosts crammed in your paper-thin heart, scabby fingers and blood from nails, itching for an escape. Live in the present, for dreams entice and dreams seduce, a sensual whisper from the shadows, a blood-tipped razor-sharp mouth smudged with the smoky gray ash of those who dared to hope. Yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is purely a vision. Time possesses the past, and worries devour the future. Respect the Lord of time. Acknowledge the rulers of what-ifs. Live in your truth, and live in it now. I also have another poem. So this one is based on George L. Lyon's poem Where I'm From, and it's essentially, I wrote it about like my Indian heritage. So you might not understand some of the references in here, but that's okay. I'm from walking on dirt roads, from arid summer days, the cool ice cream refreshing, but melting slowly. Drip, drip, drip. And from venturing out to find a lari, where I can eat pani puri, vada pav, and bhaji pav, to my heart's content. I am from bright minds, never done passing it on. I am from nakras, from not winning games, and from scheming to win at cards. Every time. I'm from sore nails playing carom. I'm from ogling the great, Bachchan, Malini, and Rekha, to singing old tunes never forgotten by the most melodious voices in the industry, Mangeshkar, Rafi, and Kumar. I'm from gazing into black and white screens. I've inherited many but different branches of the tree, memories and genes stored into the tree, waiting until the maple sap poured down as I emerged from the maple tree. Thank you. Next up, Francesca King.
Hey guys, shout out to OD's 7th hour AP Lang class. Francesca, you're a tryhard who always digs for attention. You're just mad because nobody will ever like you. He will never like you. You're worthless and annoying. Hey Francesca, I'm just calling to tell you, we don't like you. Bye. Although these words came through my phone a couple of years ago, the words still disappoint me and make me feel less than who I really am. I used to be so disappointed in myself, and I felt the immense pain and hurt every single day. I still feel the pain the girl felt reading the messages. But when I was bullied, I remember walking through the halls and not knowing whether the whispers were about me, not knowing whether that glare or the rolling of the eyes was meant to be directed at me, not knowing whether people were somewhere having a good time, talking about me, while I was alone. I still think of the nights I stayed in my room, crying and feeling victimized. For about a couple of years, I struggled with being depressed all the time. A lot of people who go through some sort of bullying feel like they can't get out, and the emotions just carry with them forever. It led me to create stories about myself, and it led me to have even more insecurities. It changed who I was as a person. People who go through some sort of bullying want to remove the scars bullying created. This is a story on how I was able to heal my scars. As a 13-year-old, my mom forced me to go to a teen leadership camp in Oklahoma. I really did not want to go. Now, this camp is designed to help teens build a foundation in themselves to become their better self and to limit the negative stories being told about them. When camp arrived, I was anxious. I remember blood flowing through my head and my hands, and my heart beating at probably 1,000,000 miles per hour. I walked into camp, and I knew no one. Meeting new people who are a lot older than me was nerve-wracking, even for me, a major extrovert. I didn't want to meet someone who would just make me feel the isolation like I did back home. But it turned out the people were supportive, and they didn't judge or isolate anyone. Throughout the duration of camp, I learned how to be myself. I gained the knowledge that unforgiveness is like cancer. I had to let things go, especially the ones that are not creating a positive story in my foundation. As the mentor of the camp says, you can't walk towards your greatness. You can only walk away from it. Meaning that even though life can be quick and easy, we choose up how we show every day. This got me thinking that I shouldn't let the things people say about me impact who I am. I can't let them control me when I can choose the person I want to be. I realized that the person I want to be is someone who is confident and not someone who's depressed all the time. This led me to be excited to go back to school and utilize everything I learned. I walked into school with my head high and proud instead of having my head down. I was taught that if I can't believe I can't be successful, I won't be. It's self-sabotage. We create the stories in our foundation, and we can produce the outcome. When rumors started going around about me, I was tested. I wanted to react. I wanted to point my finger and blame. But something I implemented was to think about the situation first, and not to say, you did this, but instead say, I feel. I so badly wanted to blame. I thought it would make me feel better about the situation. I chose to not react, but to respond addressing how I felt. As my mentor says, you can either be right or you can be successful. We don't have to argue. It won't serve a purpose and make us feel any different. As I grow into the person I'm meant to be, I choose to live my life not reacting. Just letting it go makes it known that I don't care about what people think. The knowledge I gained from camp has shaped me into the strong, confident, friendly leader I am today, and I went and found some of the most valuable people in my life. If it wasn't for this camp, I'd be a depressed, lonely girl locked in her room every Friday night, feeling sorry for herself. Nothing and no one can take my greatness away from me, and I want you to know there's nothing anyone can do to steal your greatness. Next up is Madeline Passek.
Shout out Mamula, 7th period. I did this piece for my creative writing class, and I was told I should do it for others. So yeah. I was cartwheeling around in my basement with the feeling of anxiety in my stomach, while my 2 closest friends watched me impatiently. I felt beads of sweat rolling down my face as they exclaimed, "Dude, just tell us." Finally, I stopped moving and said in a meek voice, "I think I'm gay." Confusion crossed their faces. We were only 10 at the time. The word gay was fairly new. It seemed almost like a curse word. Expecting backlash, I felt relieved when I was instead met with the comment, "Okay, just don't get crushes on us." Still ashamed of what I admitted to them, I took back my statement the next day with a gleeful, "Great news, guys, I'm not gay," which was followed up by the question from my friend, "Did you take the gay test to make sure?" About 3 years later, at age 13, I started questioning my sexual orientation again in my Catholic school. Anger would constantly bubble up in me as my teacher would make such statements as, "Being gay goes against the word of God." And the anger would only subside after I fought with her about her and the church's views. The second time I ever said that I thought I was gay out loud was actually in a private discussion with this teacher, and as expected, it got uncomfortable very quickly. After about half a year, I once again brought this concept of being gay up to my mom. who said in her Slavic accent, "Maja, I don't think you are gay. This is just a phase you will grow out of." At this point, I stopped searching for an answer and accepted that I may never know what I am. Time went on. The epiphany hit me after school one day after randomly selecting and watching a movie called Blue is the Warmest Color. I didn't know at the time that this was a love story between a gay and a bisexual woman. After finishing the movie, something clicked in my brain. I finally felt like I had a category for my weird back and forth behavior of liking boys and girls. It made sense now that even though I liked the boy in my Catholic school under the cross, I liked the girl even more. The one word, bisexual, helped me navigate my way through having a girlfriend, then a boyfriend, and having periods of times when I only saw girls attractive and vice versa. This past summer, when I was 16 going on 17, I went to Pride Parade and had decidedly one of the best days of my life. Even on the way to the parade, I was making conversation with half-naked, glitter-covered ladies taking the same train as us. Our chanting of a song by the artist Cupcake got everyone up on the train up and moving. That meant people in pantsuits on the way to work, grumpy college students, and moms with their kids. There was a weird sense of unity on that blue line. Stepping off the platform, I flashed a proud smile and was met by a swarm of people in rainbow gear. I cheered with everyone around, even hugged and kissed boys and girls I had never met before. Being there in that moment with my closest friends and people who had felt like I had once felt made me feel like I belonged there with twerking Spider-Man. In the end, I realized that being bi isn't that big of an ordeal as I thought it was, but it's still a title that I'm proud to have. Up next is Christina Chen.
Hi. First, I'd like to give a shout out to my 7th period English class. Okay. It's the advice we all hear growing up. Don't talk to strangers, don't accept candy from strangers, and definitely don't, under any circumstances, get into a stranger's car. That's probably part of why hitchhiking is illegal in 4 US states. But don't worry, it's okay to hitchhike in Illinois as long as you don't stand in the middle of the road with your thumb out. I'm not sure if this information will ever get you out of a sticky situation, but it did come to my rescue on one sunny September afternoon in 2015. As a freshman on the swim team, I was a lot more scared of authority than I am now. Back then, I thought that showing up late to practice would result in terrible consequences, from getting pushed into the pool to getting executed French Revolution style at the blade of a guillotine. If that were the case, I would have lost at least 15 heads at this point, considering the number of practices that I've missed in the past 4 years. But you can probably imagine how terrified freshman Christina was when she ran out of scholastic bowl practice, carrying a swim bag, a school bag, and her bright pink flute case, hurrying down the stairs into the pool entrance only to find no one there. I'd missed the bus to a swim meet. You're probably thinking, Christina, if you had a meet that day, you shouldn't have gone to scholastic bowl practice. You're right. I shouldn't have gone to scholastic bowl practice. I should have waited for the bus like the rest of the team and got on the bus to the meet like everyone else. But freshman Christina was as much a stubborn overachiever as she was afraid of her swim coaches. If she wanted to participate in 20 minutes of scholastic bowl practice and make it to her swim meet on time, that's what she was going to do. Unfortunately, the case of the missing school bus made it very difficult for her to get to the meet. I paced the hallway outside the gym. I contemplated calling my parents, but both of them worked too far away to bring me to the meet on time. I asked school bus drivers waiting outside if I could please have a limited edition VIP one-person ride on their yellow limousine. The answer was a sympathetic no. I began to wonder, what's the worst that could happen if I just missed this one meet? But as the image of Mrs. Newby's awe-inspiringly fearsome, angry face came to mind, I shook my head. I had to get that meet. There was no other option. I thought about it. The meet was at Palatine High School, where we practiced while the new front pool was being constructed. My mom drove me there 5 times a week, and the car ride rarely took more than 15 minutes. I could probably get to Palatine in less than an hour if I walked, right? Wrong. But I wasn't thinking very clearly when I decided to do it anyway, walking out from the main entrance, ready to set off on my personal odyssey. When I finally stumbled into Palatine's pool, my face was wet with tears and sweat. When Mrs. Newby asked me how I'd gotten to the meet, if my mom had given me a ride, I couldn't stop crying. So my wonderful, swathalicious friend, Swathi Karthikeyan, told her, no, she ran. But as is probably evident by this whole story, and as I eventually told Swathi, as admirable and superhuman as it would have been, it was physically impossible for me to have gotten to Palatine on time by foot. You might be able to guess what actually happened. After leaving Friends, I really did walk, all the way across the parking lot. And a little farther than that, I crossed Quinton and trudged along the sidewalk on the other side, tears beginning to gather. I made it to Pleasant Hill, where I observed the last of the buses and cars leave the elementary school until just one person remained. Salvation in a neon yellow vest. It was the crossing guard. I've explained freshman Christina's thought process to my concerned friends and family dozens of times to reassure them that I'll never solicit rides from strangers again. I thought, hey, if the crossing guard at an elementary school wanted to kidnap little kids, she would have done it a long time ago. She wouldn't need a random high schooler to come and ask her for a ride, so there was no way she would kidnap me. So I asked her for a ride. Seeing how I was sweaty and crying and already saying thank you, the crossing guard complied. She had another job that she needed to be at in 20 minutes, so she could only drive me part of the way. But to this day, when I did the unthinkable and voluntarily got into a stranger's car, it's still the nicest thing that anyone has ever done for me. And she was a complete stranger. I'm not saying this makes it okay to approach any stranger and ask for a ride. But if she hadn't helped me that day, it would have been a lot harder to explain to my swim coach why I wasn't at the meet. The compassion that she showed me may have prevented one small disaster, but it left a huge impact on the freshman Christina. Even though you're never obligated to help people you don't know, I hope that you do. Because whether you help a neighbor you've never talked to shovel their snow, or hold the door for more people than you need to, you might make a friend out of a stranger, or at least make someone's day a little easier. My first, and hopefully only hitchhiking experience was a positive one. And if you ever come across a crying kid desperate for a ride, I hope you choose to be a kind stranger and make their first, and hopefully only hitchhiking experience a positive one too. Thank you.
Give him one more round of applause. I feel compelled. Shout out to my 7th hour sports lit. Every time they gave one of your 7th hours a shout out, I got glares, so I just felt like I needed to. Do we have somebody else that wants to share?
Hello. So I wrote this last week. It's titled To Him. Okay. You made me feel I was invisible, altering how I treated myself and others, making me feel like trash and hating the person staring back at me. You had me fooled, playing with my emotions, had me thinking you actually cared. You made me feel meaningless, talking about me as if I was no one, as if I had no feelings whatsoever. You made me think about how grateful I am for you, for teaching me to not care about what anyone says. You made me realize who my friends really were, who made me feel like I was beautiful inside and out. You are the best, worst thing that has ever happened to me. But I wouldn't be the same without you.
This is a parody of the poem We Real Cool by Gwendolyn Brooks. We French fries. The last few left, 7 in the oily carton. We French fries. We slick guys. We spuds once, we now lunch. We grease failed, we diet failed. We junk fumed, we consumed.
Hi guys, it's me again. Okay. So some of you may have already heard this poem, but it's kind of funny. So let's try to get some laughs out of you today. All right.
Shall I compare you to a winter's day? But you are twice as cold and half as bright. It's for your life that I must stay away. And when I see your face, I lose all sight. I'd rather spend a year in freezing cold than spend a minute with you by the flame. And if you think that I am being bold, then I've got more to add to shame your name. And you're like the slush beneath my shoes. When next to snow, you will not be as clean. And frankly, you don't even have a clue. Behind that view, you're just an angsty teen. Bow down to me and please accept defeat. For even winter knows when to retreat. Thanks.
Do you have any questions for our panel at all? Yes. I'll go ahead and bring her the mic. Go ahead.
Have you ever thought about submitting that to Hallmark?
Okay. That's a great idea. We're gonna get in touch. You're gonna be my publicist. Thanks. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay. Well, I'll think about it. Okay, I'll let you know. That's a good idea. I could probably make a lot of money off of it. Yeah.
Is that about someone?
Oh, yeah. Danny, you wanted your shout out? Here it is. That's for you, boys.
Any other questions for our panel? What do you got? This is for Christina. Did you ever consider defriending? Oh, befriending. Okay. For Christina?
I guess. I was kind of in denial that it happened. That's why everyone thought I ran for a good month. But I guess it would be nice if I ever go over to Pleasant Hill, try to catch the crossing guard.
Anybody else? We got 5 minutes, so you got to fire out some questions here. Oh, what do you got? The question is, what made you want to share?
Well, in creative writing, we had to write a personal piece, and for workshop, which is when your entire class reads your piece. So I was like, it's my senior year, I might as well come out, and I might as well do it for Writers Week, so everybody knows. So yeah, that's what made me do it.
What you got?
Well, it started off, it was just kind of annoying, and I work at a pool, and over the summer they would just have a Disney playlist and be over and over and over, and I just could not take it anymore. And then I saw this article about how they destroyed the public domain, and I was like, this is perfect, because now I have concrete evidence other than just it irritates me. So yeah.
I think my favorite part is that's the question you came out with about her story about hating babies and Disney, but whatever. What you got? Oh, there it is.
I hate both of them, and it wasn't long enough if I just talked about babies.
Okay, right there. She said, do babies look like baked potatoes, basically? Yes, ma'am. What? She asked, does she struggle with...
Yeah, I get this question all the time, actually, and like, no, because I was nasty, and I'm sure I was nasty. I just don't remember it because my brain wasn't developed enough to like do anything. So no, I was probably pretty lame as a kid. So thank you.
Right there, green.
If someone offered you $100 to see Boss Baby, would you do it?
That is a really, really good question. I think I would do it. I'd probably cry the whole time, but $100 is $100, so.
In fairness to that question, Boss Baby is a baby that actually is productive. So one might argue it's conflict. But also an animated film. I promised I'd come back over here. Last one. The white vest, I thought you had a question. No? Okay. All right, right over there. With the hairband on her wrist. Or not. I did not hear that.
What do you do when you come across someone who hurts you now?
Who is this for? Anyone or me?
Well, I have like my really good friends and like my family who I can always go to. And like, yeah, they like are always there for me, I guess, and I can like talk to them about anything and like I trust them, so.
You've been a great audience. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.